sitting down there?
Yeah.
All right.
It is down here.
Can I switch you headphones so I'm not pulling my head?
No doubt.
I don't mind if you listen. I
know.
You're going to be on YouTube Live.
You see that across the top? Can you click on it?
Can I click on it?
Do you get a drop down?
Yeah. I get view stream on YouTube or copy YouTube link or streaming link.
Perfect. Yeah. So that'll allow people to share in session too.
That'll be nice.
Good morning, everyone.
Did you put a built-in delay?
No, it ends up being like a 3 to 11 second delay.
Okay.
Just because.
Can you come up here? Nice.
Zoom is super efficient. Like it just goes and takes care of it. So we don't get any adjustment settings, at least this first time around.
That's nice.
And then we're streaming today's meeting and yesterday's meeting to my account, just so that we can make sure things are working. We can preview what that looks like for everybody in our meeting today. And then tonight at like 9 o'clock, I'll verify that we can stream it to the DL YouTube account.
Okay.
We had some weird timelines on that, so.
Even has a camera of you.
It does have a camera.
Zach, who was your office mate this morning?
What's your name?
Oakley.
Oakley.
Good morning, Oakley. How you doing today, bud?
Good.
Good.
Oakley, are you going to be in kindergarten next year?
Yes.
Wow.
That's pretty
I'm
exciting.
like 4 years old. And soon I'm 5.
Guess whose school you're going to?
What?
You're going to Christie's school or Miss Ardinger's room school.
Nice covers that.
That's so exciting.
He's like, oh no.
Do we already have a virtual class list going?
Yeah, she might be one of your teachers.
Not next year though.
No, not next year. But I have a feeling I'm going to find out who your teacher is pretty soon here.
They're working on the Monday, Zach.
Yep, I figured I'll get one of those messages from Karen saying, here you go.
Yeah.
How is everybody's morning going so far?
Pretty good so far. How about yours?
You know what? It's a good morning. My wife is home today, which means I get to do like things like this, and she gets to hang out with the kids. And then I'm gonna go, pandemic grocery shopping. I get that privilege because I'm home with them all day and working. So I claim getting out of the house for that. That's mine. Yep. Well, we'll go ahead and wait just another moment or two. It's awesome to see so many incredible people from across the state. Look at that. We've just got them rolling in right at 8. Audrey, sorry, attendance. I'm gonna mark you late.
Good morning, everybody. Look at the northern lights there behind Jeff. Oh, isn't that nice? I get to see Holly. That's a good way to start the day. Anytime I can see Holly at the beginning of the day, that's a good one. It's been a while. Oh, and then there's Miss Ardinger. Are you gonna don any? You got anything to put on your head? No. No. Okay. If I keep asking, it just gets kind of awkward.
I think there's an inside joke that needs to be an outside joke.
Oh, there's the. Did she just disappear? That was amazing. Christy Ardinger just
Christy?
disappeared.
Yep.
She's my magical friend. So just wanted to let everybody know that. There's Mr. Horn.
She's got like a cool color changing something in the background.
Yeah, that's her unicorn.
That's great.
Yeah.
I had to put this away because the new puppy is quite fascinated with this, but
Oh,
Yeah,
look at
that's-
that.
Yep, there you go. So Christy's actually presenting through a unicorn mask. So I don't know how the rest of you are feeling, but that might up the game a little bit. I'm just kidding. She's not going to present through the unicorn.
I have a full hazmat suit.
you
Well,
should
that's
wear it with the,
significantly less fun.
It's way less fun.
you could use the unicorn head sometime, Zach.
That sounds fun.
I've got a second one. It looks
We're gonna
different.
need some Clorox wipes first, though.
Yeah.
All right, David, take it away.
Yeah, well, welcome everybody. We are so excited to have, we've got 19 people on this morning's call. I think one thing that has amazed the team of individuals who have been kind of in the mix of the planning the most is how amazing everyone has come together from across the state and across the region on such short notice. Like y'all were invited to this yesterday, not even 24 hours ago. And for us to be able to be so dynamic and flexible in everything that we do is just amazing. So we appreciate all of you, all of your expertise and everything that you're bringing to this event. My name's Dave, I work with St. Cloud State, and I'm super excited to be helping out with this event because it has just been incredible. So I'm gonna share my screen and go over a couple of pieces that we are gonna be hitting on today. Today is kind of an orientation day for everyone to feel more comfortable using Zoom as our online platform, how to manage some of the participants in Zoom so that if there's any malicious Zoom bombing, you can address that swiftly. The basics of how we're using YouTube Live, the overall session for the day or design of the day, and then also plenty of time for any Q&A from all of you. I just realized that Frederick has the best coordinating outfit and background. Like that's dedication. There we go. That is great. So let's go ahead and jump into what we're going to be working on. I'm going to see.
Of course he does.
Right.
I had to get there. If you haven't met Frederick before, there you are. Now you've met him. That's exactly par for the course.
Let's pull this little thing up real quick. Inside of your email that you all received, you would have gotten a link to this. This page was updated and will be lightly maintained as the event continues if there's any huge differences. So the real easy way to think about the event is we need to each arrive 5 to 10 minutes before our start time. And then we need to make sure that we're ending at that 45-minute mark and no later than like the 48-minute mark. All of our sessions are facilitated through a single Zoom account so they can't overlap. It's just a limitation, but also it'll help keep everything rolling and efficient. When entering the room, you just want to make sure that your name is really easy to be able to see so that I can pull you in as the host and co-host. And then if I pull in Joss and she's really the person who's supporting Ryan, and I put Joss as the host real quick because I just saw her name, they can switch their responsibilities also. the host of the room has the most abilities within their bar. So this is a host bar that I have on my screen. And the piece that a host has that a co-host does not have is the breakout rooms. So host is the only person to be able to manage breakout rooms. And we'll go into what that is and how to use those in just a moment. As you are popping in, if I don't give you your rights right away, just shout at me or throw it in the chat or do something so that I can see that. But if we can each arrive just a couple of minutes early, that won't be an issue at all. So this is going to be the overall usage of the Zoom bar. How many people have run a meeting online or participated in a meeting online? Oh, look at that, all of us. How many people have done that with Zoom? Okay, about half, perfect. So for those of you who know it, this will be a great refresh. Inside the security panel, we are able to manage our participants in one way. So security is going to be a little bit more of the knee-jerk things that you might need to do, which includes removing a participant. So you would click on security and then remove participant is one of your options, as well as locking the room. So if you feel at any point you need to lock the room because malicious accounts keep popping in, you can lock that room, and then everyone will end up being directed to the YouTube Live. Since we do have YouTube Live running for each one of our sessions, if the presenter or the host or the mod feels like that room needs to be locked, we don't need to worry about anyone feeling left out. And if there's any pieces on social media that are popping up, if you're monitoring that, just direct them right to the YouTube account or clicking the YouTube link on the website, and that'll just help guide people into the places that they need to be. Under the participants button, what that'll do is pop up a participant floating box, or it'll pop it up inside of your Zoom window, depending on if you're full screen or not. And you'll be able to see in this little widget corner how many participants there are. So when I look at my bar, I can see we had 19 people when we first started. And that is a live number. So you will see numbers go up and down, and that's absolutely okay. Also within the participant tool, we're able to add privileges to individual participants or everybody. So we can say everybody can have their mic on, everyone can have their mic off. We can also help control their webcams. And by default, the participants in the room, so all of our attendees, are going to have their webcams turned off and their microphones turned off. They will be able to toggle those on. The mic for sure toggles on from the participant side. So as you're continuing to work through that, on the participants window, you can see a button that says mute all. So if you need to silence that crowd, feel free to silence that crowd. In the chat, chat just opens up a great chat. Again, it's either floating or it's inside the Zoom window if you have it full screen or not. Your screen share is only available to the host and co-host. So that is something where we don't need to worry about participants projecting anything onto our meetings and taking anything over. You can choose to screen share an entire window or as specific as one application. So if you only want to share a PowerPoint or Chrome tab, you have that flexibility. Sometimes I do notice that screen sharing works better if you have other programs on your computer turned off. So if I were like right now, I'm screen sharing and I've got Chrome open, I've got Zoom open, I've got Slack open, and it runs really efficiently that way. Polling allows for just, yeah.
Quick question from Kevin, that's a good one. If they mute the room, does it mute everybody except for the host and the host co-host?
It will mute everybody. It will mute all of the attendees. And we're going to learn by doing. And I'm going to make you a co-host and I'm going to mute everybody. And let's see. So the co-host and the host stay unmuted when you hit mute all. And you can have multiple co-hosts. So I know we have a panel discussion. And if the panel discussion team wants to run it as a meeting like this, they absolutely can. And then they can just hit mute all and then list everybody as a co-host. Great question. When you do hit mute all, you get a pop-up that says everyone's going to be muted, and then you can toggle on or off if participants can unmute themselves. So right now I'm going to uncheck the box and allow you guys to unmute yourselves. Great question. And thanks for moderating my chat here. Polling options are just basic polling features that are built into Zoom. Recording, I will take care of recording before you actually enter the room. The room does get recorded from the second somebody is in it. So just make sure that you're aware of that. We've had questions around recording and consent for that. So on the website where the links are housed, there is a disclaimer that if you opt to go with the Zoom version of our summit, your participation will be recorded. And if you opt to go with the YouTube live portion of our summit, your video won't be recorded because that's not in the feature. We do not have closed captioning through Zoom. That feature is something where we're able to assign a person to closed caption the event. But we can still honor and make best attempts at providing closed captioning through a couple of different ways. Both Google Slides and PowerPoint have closed captioning features built in. The streams, once they're processed completely on YouTube, will also have auto captioning turned on. And if anyone requests specific recordings, we're able to provide a Zoom generated recording after the fact that has a live chat of the discussion and the actual talking that is transcribed. None of those are fully ADA compliant, but for this size and kind of backing of an event, they're going to be our best attempts. If you are using breakout rooms are great ways to get people into smaller groups for discussion. So anybody is able to turn a breakout room on as long as you're set up as a meeting. All of your rooms right now are currently set up as meetings. So you would click on the breakout button and choose how many rooms you want. And the breakout room tool will say you have 5 to 6 people in each room and you have 5 rooms. And you're able to adjust those so that you can have the amount of people in each room or the number of rooms that you want. Within breakout rooms, you can manually put people in, or you can have it automatically set. I would recommend that automatic setting just to make it really efficient. And then when you hit to open the breakout rooms, people will click into their breakout rooms. And when you want the breakout rooms to end, you'll hit close breakout rooms, and it'll be a 60-second delay for people to wrap up conversations. This one is kind of fun. There is this great reactions button, and you all should have some fun emojis right now, where you can put, I believe, 1 of 2 reactions and everyone can see them. That's fun. We all love emojis. I don't know if I love emojis as much as I did 6 months ago. And then under more, the only piece that we'll have under more is going to be our streaming features. And I'll have that set before I leave the room. And that is going to allow us to stream directly to YouTube Live. So up in the corner of your screen, you should see a note saying that we are streaming direct on YouTube Live. The host is able to stop that. I ask that you don't play around with that unless like you see the ship sinking and you need to pull the plug. Feel free to cancel those. But then all of the participants are able to click on that same box, so you can click it and they're able to go right to the YouTube live stream, or they're able to copy and share that URL with people. YouTube live is going to be between 3 and 11 seconds about on delay. So that is just something to keep in mind, that it does take just a bit. So I am going to show you what that YouTube live ends up looking like. So within the YouTube Live, you're able to see that there is a chat just the same way that we would have one on Zoom. So it's just pulling up that chat. And this is where we have the piece of presenters, hosts, moderators, and the different roles that we have. So I believe we have a moderator or a host in every single session, so that the presenter does not need to keep track of the chat. Even with a small group that we have on today, I lost track of the chat, and Sean just jumped in and has started to keep an eye on that. So that is very helpful as a presenter. So if you're in that room moderator role, just keeping an eye on the Zoom chat and on the YouTube chat to be able to find common questions, pull together kind of the really interesting things that you'll want to make sure get addressed, as well as if you're feeling comfortable with the topic that's being shared, you can yourself reply back to those chat questions and say, here is an answer or a response, and then you don't need to bring that up to the presenter. With the chat questions, if there's a natural break, you can interrupt that presenter or bring the questions all together kind of at the end and get through as many as you can. Anybody have any questions yet?
I'm just curious if moderators are going to have a session like what we're having today, so that I know we're building a toolkit for them, but I think it might be great to have a visual of like how to.
Yeah, so presenters and moderators, whoever was on the moderator list yesterday at like 10 a.m., whenever you all received the email, were all included in this invite. And then I'm going to resend that invite to everyone who I invited, as well as any additional mods, and say, hey, if you missed one of the meetings, you can watch one of these two really, really awesome and engaging YouTube Lives. So here's some links. And that'll be completely optional, just like this was. I'm sure some people feel like they're Zoom power stars and jump past it. And I want to say good morning to Lana's baby.
Yeah. So for a little bit on the moderation side of things, we are putting together a moderator toolkit that will have some links that you need, so you can just have that ready to go so you don't have to search around for things. And then your role in the room is to act as a participant, and then, as Dave mentioned, monitor the chat. And we have 45 minutes in these sessions, which in some situations will be perfect, and then others it will seem like it goes pretty quick. And so the moderator's job is to keep the conversation moving. And if you individually have more questions about that, you can reach out to me and I'd be happy to meet and chat with you a little bit more about that. I think that's all I had to say about the moderators. You are part of the master schedule. So if you look at, I'm going to put this in the chat, the schedule from the sites. Our master schedule has all of you listed into the time that you're doing that. So yeah.
A quick question about the master schedule. Is there going to be a YouTube link that's posted on the day of sessions?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely. So that will be generated, and then we'll actually post that, and then we'll embed the live feed into the site as well.
Thank you.
Sean
so,
or Dave?
Yeah.
I'm wondering, so as a presenter, do you need us to bring up YouTube Live as well? Or is that, I guess I'm a little confused on that. Is that all taken care of in the background?
Yeah, that'll all be taken care of. One of the limitations that I wasn't expecting was MnState imposed some security pieces, and one of those includes me not being able to assign anybody outside of MnState as a co-host. So I'll be popping into the beginning of each and every session, and you'll get an extra dose of Dave. So I'll take care of making sure that the recording is set and to take care of all the YouTube Live piece. And that will just help alleviate any concern around that and make it really low impact for you all. The biggest thing that I want to make sure everyone realizes is that the second you're in the room, you might be live. So just feel great and confident. Don't feel like anyone's judging you, because they're not. But it's just that piece of, you know, sometimes we take care of any last minute things and or wear shorts to work now all the time, or PJs to work. So if you're making any of those adjustments, just be aware of that. On the screen, we can see what it looks like as a YouTube live session is being broadcasted. So this is on my personal account right now, but on the Minnesota DL Summit account, you'll see this top section, and it only appears when there's live events. So we'll be able to direct people to the channel, and then they'll see the only live event will happen one at a time. So that'll be a great piece.
And as I was thinking about this last night, because we have put this together so quickly, one of the actual benefits of the limitation is we are only doing one session per hour. So you as a presenter and a moderator, myself, I'm not presenting, so I'll be checking in every hour to make sure things are going smoothly and make sure that you get the help that you need. We're going to have a little back channel set up for moderators so that if you need help, we'll be right there ready to help you out. And so initially I was like, oh, it's a bummer we're only doing one session an hour, but this is great because actually we'll be able to give you the support you need in order to get started. So if you've presented at workshops before, just imagine being able to walk into the room when it's time for you to present. We're going to have the projector set up and ready to go for you. We'll have the dongles in the room so you're ready to connect your device, and then you should be ready to go. This is a free volunteer-driven event, and so we anticipate people coming to this with that sort of spirit of that, and we'll keep hitting on that. And so, you know, have some fun, lower your own expectations. This is a volunteer-free event that was put together in less than 2 weeks from people around the state. And so know that that's the spirit of it going into it. And we are going to make sure that we can do everything on our end of things to make sure it's a really smooth experience for you.
So before we jump into the awesome questions that are coming up into group chat, I do want to make sure that we talk about ending our sessions well. So just to make sure that transition is set, make sure that you're closing shop by whatever the 45-minute marker on that hour is, and no later than 50, because I'll jump in real close to the 50-minute mark. We really do want to encourage you all to invite participants to go back to the site to check out the schedule as well as complete their CEU form. The only way that they'll earn their CEUs is through a short reflection piece, and that is also the way that we are tracking. So we don't have registration. We don't have a pre-sign up for sessions or anything. We're making this as barrier-free as possible, but to be able to get analytics on who's actually being here and what that looks like, we're able to pull that from that form as well. And then when you leave the room, it's important that you press end meeting, which will be down in the bottom corner where yours probably says leave. And then you'll also press end meeting for all, because you'll get a pop-up. This is going to close out your room completely, and you don't need to worry about anything. Everything just closes off at that point. It makes it really nice and efficient. So anything that you're sharing or your webcam, the live stream, it's all taken care of that way. Keep in mind that if you need to leave for any reason in the middle of a session and you're co-presenting for say, best practice would probably be to mute your mic and mute your camera so that you are not leaving as a host and things like that. I know I've accidentally left the meeting as a host and shut it down. Oops. So the questions that I see coming in is, yeah, no, you're not getting paid. Otherwise, we'd have sponsors at the beginning of every session. And I work with companies like that, and those are fun too, but I think this is going to be more fun. The other one that I saw was, I think, already answered by Sean about sharing things in chat. So I want to turn it over to Sean to talk about the overall layout of the day, and then we'll turn it into you guys for questions.
Yep. So I've been answering some of those questions about the day in the chat. So a few things. We're going to have the moderator toolkit for you, which will have the back channel, and chances are it'll be something as simple as a Google Doc, because again, there's only one session going on at a time. So it's easy to have that up and looking at in order to make sure that we're paying attention if there's any technical questions. Another one is I just will encourage you all to give you the freedom. You don't need to be tech support during this. If someone's struggling and having a hard time while in the Zoom room, just the moderator might just contact that person through the chat individually and say, you know, I'm sorry that you're having some trouble. You can always join the YouTube live stream, or all of these sessions are being recorded and made available afterwards. So just remember that, be gentle but firm, and you can move people on if they need to. In addition to that, as the room wraps up, so a little talk about the lounge sessions. So one of the things that we're really trying to do here that's different, or one of the primary goals of this, is really connecting the community across the state and the region. And so 45 minutes is great because it's a very tight session to get information out, and that's plenty long in a video chat to do these types of things. But we also realized that the conversation will spill over in some of these. There's so many great topics that chances are 45 minutes might seem like it stilts a conversation. In that case, the moderator will have a link to the lounge, which will be a Google Meet session that you will post in the chat at around the 40-minute mark, so that people know that they can leave somewhere else to continue the conversation. The lounges are anything from super, well, I'm just working with Jeff, so some of the lounges will actually be pointed to the conversation to continue it. So for example, with our accessibility discussion that's going on Monday, there's going to be a lounge that is actually geared to talk about special ed included. That's not the case in all of them. That's just in some of them where it lined up. In other places, it's just going to be where the conversation continues. The lounges are designed to be lightweight. You go in and a conversation, if it peters out after 10 minutes, that's fine, then it's over. If people stick around and talk for an hour, great, whatever. If you agree to be a lounge host, you certainly, none of the presenters are expected to do this in case that came across. And as a moderator, you're not actually expected to do that either. I'll be free to help get those things started. But if you're interested, then the host position is just that, you know, getting things started, having people introduce themselves, anticipating it's probably a little bit smaller than the actual Zoom session. So that is the piece about the lounge. The lounge links will also be in that moderator toolkit. And so we'll have links to the lounges included in that particular document. Flipgrid photo booth is another thing. So another thing that we would like to do is have this continue the community conversation beyond the 2 days. And so the way that we're going to do that is the video that gets generated from the session will actually be posted into a Flipgrid topic with the title of the session on it, so that people can go back there to watch the session, but then also leave comments, questions, ideas, and then respond to each other. So that's one way that we're going to use Flipgrid to support the continued conversation. And then we'll also have because summits are only fun when they have a photo booth, we've got a photo booth set up, which is just a grid topic that's 30 seconds long and 3 quick prompts. What are you doing here? Why are you here? And what did you learn? And just a way for people to have some fun posting some silly things there. So again, links to that will be, someone asked, all of those things were, 2 weeks. So we're still polishing up some of the final bits of this. The Flipgrid topics will be completed today. And then on the schedule, they'll be linked next to the Go Live and the YouTube Live. And then they're part of that Google slide deck as well for the schedule. So that should take care of those couple of items. Just the one thing is, because we are running it through one account, it is important to clear that room. And so that's why I think that's sort of why I came up with the Google Meet Lounge, because then you don't have to just kick people out. It's not, you have to leave. You could say, let's continue the conversation over here, and then just guide people over there. And yeah, that's what I've got.
don't feel bad about kicking people out and you can't do it, you don't have the heart, I'll do it. I'll be like, hey, we're wrapping up.
Yeah.
We'll just hit the end. Yeah,
That's
no,
right.
I'll be the bad guy for sure.
Yeah, this is a Minnesota-based summit, so no Minnesota goodbyes. It's not going to work. If they need to do a Minnesota goodbye, they got to leave, go over to the lounge. Like, we don't have time for, hey, it's good to see you. Was that a casserole you're cooking there? That's real nice. I know it's hot dish. I lived here. Okay.
The only other piece that I didn't really specifically call out, it is in the notes, is just to make sure you have your Zoom client updated so that you have the security panel, and then so that if there's any weird little patches or things like that, that's taken care of. If you feel the need to jump into a Zoom and play around with it a little bit as a host, all you need to do is email me, reply to the invite, or DM me on Twitter or whatever, and I can get you a slot and make sure that I open that up and give you privileges so that you feel the most comfortable. But we want to turn it back over to your questions. Wait time is so different online because I can judge all of your expressions at the same time and also not at all because I can't read any body language. So as you continue to share socially, it was Daryl, I think, who brought up like the old T-Mobile Fave 5 plan in our Slack. I remember that plan. And his challenge was to have some great conversations with 5 people in district roles or in school roles that you know personally, and invite them to share this with their staff and their colleagues, and do that in person, as well as follow up with an email providing them the link. And as you are sharing socially, please just keep in mind, don't ever share your Zoom link, but direct people to that website and use the hashtag as freely as possible. It would be amazing if we could break the internet and max out the room and make people have to go to the YouTube live video. And I think that we've got the potential to do that with some of the amazing sessions we have put together and amazing districts that we have engaged.
That reminds me, Dave, just a couple of other logistical pieces. One of the things that'll be noted on the schedule, or is already noted on the language of the schedule, is people that join the Zoom sessions are agreeing by joining the Zoom sessions to have their image broadcast. And so just something that if that comes up, we do have that language. So if you're meeting with people who aren't comfortable being broadcast, you can tell them that's great. There's a YouTube live stream as well. So that is one consideration. And then you said something else that made me think of something else, and I can't remember what it is now. Oh, just this piece. We've pushed this out already through a number of different organizations. And so I am aware of a handful of districts that have gotten in touch with me that are using this as the May 1st and May 4th outlet for PD. A lot of districts are kind of gassed at the internal professional development and are giving time to teachers over Friday and Monday. So we're not really sure. It could be a few people in a session, or it could, like Dave said, max out the session and push people over to the YouTube live stream. We won't know. All sessions are recorded. And so even if you only have a few people in the room, think that you will be this will be made available for people as a follow-up. So it will be available for people afterwards. So present like you're presenting to a whole room, regardless of how many people show up. And the last thing, a bit of advice from someone who's been doing this a bit, because these are recorded, give nod to that while you're presenting. And so you might say something like, if you happen to be watching this later, this is yada, yada, as a way to help people feel connected, sort of generating those intentional connections, knowing that people will be watching it later as well.
Christy, that is a great question. I can see what it looks like. I actually have never filled a room. Like I teach small classes, so I don't know what that looks like. And I'm assuming that everyone will get an error message and it'll say the room is full. I don't know if I can change that. I can do some Googling today and see what that looks like. But if you do notice that your session is full, or that you notice that it's starting to hit that really full side, or you choose to lock your session, you all have that amazing ability to jump on Twitter and send out that note saying, hey, my session is full, even if it's just locked, and jump over on YouTube and then share the Minnesota Summit site, and then they can do that. The participant cap is, I think I said 300 and 500. So it would be 300 for the meetings. It might be 200. I'll have to double check. And then 500 for a webinar. The only session that I was considering pushing to a webinar right off the bat is our panel discussion. And that's just to help moderate the Q&A. And I just need to loop back with that group. If you are presenting and you don't want video, and you are not going to be using Breakout, and you want them to have access to chat, you can send me a message privately, and I can make your session specifically a webinar so that there is no video engagement. Just know that you cannot change that. It is either set as a meeting or as a webinar. The only perk in webinar is you get a Q&A button so that people can have a real Q&A discussion. That's going to be the difference in features. Yeah, Devin, the hashtag is hashtag MNDLSummit.
Dave, just a question on that video engagement. That's video from the, would be from the presenters, right? The host still, the moderator or the host would still have video?
So yes, so a meeting is going to be set up exactly like this. You see everyone, and as a host, you can choose to spotlight a particular piece. And I can put that on our Zoom host guide. And then in a webinar, it would be the host and the panelists would all have video and screen sharing, and you would not see any indication of anybody on your screen until you open up the participant window, and then you would see a list of participants. And then in the webinar, everyone's mics are muted by default, and you can grant speaking privileges. And an attendee can request speaking privileges by raising their hand. Well, we want to be open and available for any questions that you might have. Otherwise, as you are feeling more comfortable, know that we'll be responsive as we can by email or by Twitter. Oh, Joss, Audrey, thanks for pulling that up. So you don't need to worry about any logins. You'll enter your meeting just like you entered this one. And then as soon as I see you pop in, I'll flip you into the host or the co-host role. The host can do breakout rooms. The co-host cannot do breakout rooms. The host can also pop in between breakout rooms, whereas the co-host gets put in as a learner. For the, if you choose to make your session a webinar instead, and you let me know personally, I'm going to still invite you all just to enter the same link, and then I'll transition either the first person in the room or all of the panelists that are listed on the website into that panelist privilege group. So Zoom makes it really friendly. It's all the same link, and then just a little bit of tinkering on my end. Sean, I like that too.
Yeah, so Zach had asked, and this is, I think this is a great idea because some of you may just want to be prepared right before. And so there'll be a Google Meet session that's open for during the day that you can pop into, sort of like the presenters lounge, and someone will be there to talk about how things went for other sessions and, you know, give some background. I'm making a smoothie right now.
In your office?
Yeah, in my office, right? In my office. It's a quick walk over to my recreation area. And then I got a sweet breakfast lounge. Actually, my 6th grader's up making cinnamon rolls this morning, and that's great, but not something I would normally eat for breakfast. And so I will be going on a long walk later.
There you go. Yeah, Sean, thank you for your buy-in and engagement through this too.
Yeah.
Definitely group effort. This is amazing work that we all are doing.
Yep, it's been fantastic. And just really, again, thank you all very much. Remember that this event, these two things, the Minnesota Distance Learning Summit, these 2 days are really just meant to actually be the launch pad for a larger and longer community conversation. If we're able to do it, wonderful. And, you know, as we know, some of these things work out exactly as planned and some of them fizzle and fade over time, and that's fine as well. But keep your eye or keep your mentality on the idea of developing relationships and keeping this cross state and region conversation going on, because, you know, chances are we're going to be in this. Well, we know we're in this till the end of the year. And so if we can connect people, that will be just great. Thank you. I'm going to mute now because of the kitchen.
Because the smoothie making is making us all jealous. Okay, well, enjoy your days. Be awesome with whatever you do.